Hey, what's going on out there? This is Wayne, and we're going to be checking out how to infuse flavors into your vodka. It's kind of a big thing that's going around. They got some infusion bars and places like that where you take fruit and different other flavors and infuse them into your vodka. You can actually do this at home, and it makes a great tasting drink. Number one thing you want to remember is you need to use a good quality vodka. This is actually a local distillery. This is Woody Creek Vodka. They're based out of Basalt, Colorado. They grow their own potatoes, they ferment their own spirits, they purify it and filter it, and they do everything all in-house. And they have a great facility, and they produce a great product. If you start with a great product, you're going to end with a really good product. If you buy, something, if you put it this way, if you're buying something in a plastic bottle, you're probably not getting the best quality product. So if you can find this in your stores, check it out. One other one that I can recommend is Kettle One. Kettle One makes a great vodka that's usually available just about anywhere. So if you can't find this stuff, try that out and see what you can do with that. But if you start with a good vodka, you're going to end with a good product. A couple of questions about flavor infusing vodka. Well, what does that mean? Basically all we're going to do is we're going to put fruit into the vodka, and it's going to flavor it, and then the fruit will actually become alcoholic as well. The alcohol goes into the fruit, and the fruit flavor goes into the alcohol. Questions about that? Do you need to do anything like boil it, or like you're going to do canning, that type of stuff where you boil all the bacteria out of it and then create a seal for your vodka? No. The spirit itself is very antibacterial, and so as long as you don't add too much fruit to your vodka, you'll be fine. I like to add, usually like one package or kind of a quarter or half of the bottle roughly. If you fill the bottle completely up, the fruit's going to outweigh the alcohol, and then you could have some, bacteria and mold issues. I haven't ever experienced that, but it just is what really makes sense to me. So I would suggest that you keep it, at a decent level. Plus, if you fill the whole thing up with fruit, you're not going to have very much vodka left, and that's not going to create very much opportunity to make drinks with it. So let's get started. We're going to make a couple different weird kinds here. We're going to do a blueberry, we're going to do a raspberry, we're going to do a pickle, and we're going to do a peach. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to have some canning jars on hand. I had one other one here. I had one other one here. That will work for this. So have some canning jars on hand. Doesn't matter what size, big or small, because we are going to have to pour some of this out in order to allow the room for the fruit to go into it. I like to pour just the spirit out. Make sure that if you just go buy your canning stuff, I know it's still, the alcohol distills everything, it's still a really good idea to go ahead and wash these out, or at least run them through the dishwasher one time before you go ahead and use them. So the first thing we're going to do is pour some out. I'd say that's probably going to be enough for that. Maybe I like to pour a little more out, because that way we can always add it back, but once we add the flavoring into it, then you're going to contaminate your next drink. So the blueberries are going to be the easiest ones to do, because they're going to be a nice whole thick-skinned fruit. So we just fill these right up. And you could wash the fruit too, that would be recommended. But once again, the vodka should distill pretty much everything, as long as we're not getting to a super crazy ratio of fruit to spirits, then we should be okay. So this is going to make something really fun to do at parties. It's going to be the hit of the party. It looks fun. It tastes better. You're adding new flavors, you're adding new sensations, you're adding new things, something nobody's really seen before. And it just tastes better than the, you know, the artificially flavored stuff that you get at the liquor store. Yes, you can buy, you know, just about every kind of flavoring at the liquor store, but it's usually artificial flavoring. So this is an all-natural way. If you got friends that are into natural stuff and, you know, are trying to stay away from extra sugars and artificial flavors and corn syrups and things like that, this is a great way to catch their attention and kind of entertain everybody with this. So, super easy. To do. And you're going to want to let this sit for at least 2 days, at least 48 hours. I think that's a pretty good ratio right there. We could possibly add some more of this back to there. I may do that later, but for right now, that's what I'm going to call pretty good with that one. Now you can see the blueberries down in there, and it just creates a really nice, cool look and appeal when that comes out. And then eventually, it will actually turn the vodka pretty purple. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this one. Only we're going to do raspberry. Dump a little out. There. I'm going to add our raspberries to it. Once again, very, very easy to do. If you need to kind of break them in half to get them to fit, that's okay too. You don't want to mash them up too much, but again, you're just popping this stuff right down in there. Make sure you don't get them too jammed up. If you have a fruit that you want to use that's not going to fit in the bottle, that's okay. That's what your canning jars are for too. So always keep that in mind, that you can always go back to the canning jars and use those for any other fruit. Just make sure you label them, what it is, when you made it, and all the stuff that would basically go into normal canning process. I like to try and use fruit that I can leave it in the bottle, because it usually the bottles are pretty cool to look at, and it creates just kind of a really nice visual thing to kind of see your vodka in there, and you can see it change colors, and you know, you got the cool fogging of the glass and the decoration that already came with the bottle, so it just creates a very appealing look to it. Whereas opposed to the mason jar, where it's going to kind of look a little more, it's just not as fancy and appealing, I guess, would be the main reason. And if you notice you have any you know, moldy berries or anything like that, obviously you'd want to just go ahead and discard those as soon as possible, and don't blend them into the mix. Even though the spirit is has very good distilling properties and antibacterial stuff, it's still just not a good idea to add anything that is not appetizing or appealing, because you're going to be able to see that through the glass. You don't need to take the fruit out at any point in time. You can just leave it right in there, right until it's gone. Usually as soon as you pop the top on this stuff, it's going to be gone pretty quick anyways. So just kind of keep those things in mind. more in here.
Squish that one a little too good, I guess. And that will happen. Raspberries are pretty delicate. But I wouldn't be too worried about it for the most part. There you go. You can see that it just looks really nice. It looks really pretty. Just has an appetizing look to it. And that's just going to go ahead and stay in there. We'll shake that up. Make sure you set it for 48 hours at least. You can do a little more. You can do a little less. We're going to do one more here. We're going to take pickle and I'm going to take this about half and half, roughly. Right there. So I don't know if you can see that. Because the pickle has a really strong flavor, but so does the vodka too, so you really need to be careful how much you add to it. So I'm going to add about that much right there. And then once again, you want to make sure you label this stuff so you know kids and stuff like that doesn't get into it. I'm going to go ahead and put a big X on this one and write alcoholic on there. Write that on there with the Sharpie and then scratch it out. 3X on the label. Should probably take the label off, but that's about as far as I'm going to go with that. This doesn't really need to go into the fridge anymore, so all this stuff is going to be kept up out of the way anyways, so nobody could get into it. And then we have a little bit left here. We've got a little pickle juice left. Go ahead and put that over here. And we'll do a peach. Vodka right there. And basically all we want to do is take the peach, cut it up, just like you would normally. Take the pit out, make a couple slices. I like to slice it into not quarters, but more than that, probably eighths, just so it has more surface area to go ahead and bond with that and fuse and infuse each other with this. So we'll go ahead and mix this right here and dump that into there. As you can see right there, we'll add the last of this. We'll add that to the blueberry jar, I guess, so we can top that off. That's why you want to have a little bit of your extra on hand, so you can go ahead and add it where it needs to be. Some fruit's going to take up more room than others. We'll go ahead and top that one back off. And once again, we'll want to go ahead and label this stuff. Make sure that you have all your labels and stuff in mind. We don't have to boil the can either. We don't have to go through the actual canning process, because the alcohol will take care of that and make everything sanitary. But that's how that's going to work right there. And we'll let this stuff sit for 48 hours and we'll see what happens. So there you have it. We have blueberry, we have raspberry, and we have a pickle. For more information, check out the website below. Alright, so day 2 of our, this is 24 hours. This is day 1 of our infusion, and you can see already that the vodka is beginning to take on the color of the fruit, and they're infusing together. The blueberry one usually, it seems to be the best one, where looking best anyways. Your strawberries and your raspberries are going to tend to get a little white and maybe look a little goofy. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just probably the blueberry is going to be the most appealing to the eye, but all these are definitely, they're taking on the flavor, they're getting sweet, the sugars are being extracted out of the fruit and blending in with the alcohol, and they're starting to take on that flavor. So this is day 2. We'll let it sit one more day. Our other ones, you're not really going to be able to tell any difference because they're in different jars, but that's what it's going to look like after 24 hours. Tomorrow they'll be ready, and then you can let them sit as long as you want. You know, I really like to let them sit about a week, to be perfectly honest, before you really start to get that flavor in there. But this is what it's going to be like if you're in a pinch, in a hurry. You're going to get that color, you're going to get that feel, you're going to get that effect, and we'll go from there. So we'll show you what they look like tomorrow. Thanks for watching.